Morning, Team Alabama. Please begin reading with me on your Chromebooks on page 77 of the Hunger Games. Add to your facts, and let's add to our questions and vocab. Questions. Please ask yourself a few questions at this time. Does Katniss survive in the Hunger Games? Who does she form an alliance with? What is her strategy? What are her strengths? Who helps her? All of those are questions that you could ask yourself at this time. Please add to your 10 questions. Page 77, read along with me. I tried to focus on the talk, which was turned to our interview costumes. When a girl sets a gorgeous-looking cake on the table and deftly lights it, it blazes up, and then the flames flicker around the edges a while until it finally goes out. I have a moment of doubt. What makes it burn? Is it alcohol? I say, looking up at the girl. That's the last thing Oh, I know you. I can't place a name or time to the girl's face, but I'm certain of it. The dark red hair, the striking features, the porcelain white skin. But even as I utter the words, I feel my insides contracting with anxiety and guilt at the sight of her. And while I can't pull it up, I know some bad memory is associated with her. The expression of terror that crosses her face only adds to my confusion and unease. She shakes her head in denial quickly and hurries away from the table. When I look back, the 4 adults are watching me like hawks. Don't be ridiculous, Katniss. How could you possibly know an avux? Snaps Effie, the very thought. What's an avux? I asked stupidly. Someone who committed a crime. They cut her tongue so she can't speak, says Haymitch. She's probably a traitor of some sort. Not likely you'd know her. And even if I did, you're not to speak to one of them unless it's to give an order, says Effie. Of course you don't really know her. But I do know her, and now that Haymitch has mentioned the word traitor, I remember from where. The disapproval is so high that I could never admit it. No, I guess not. I stammer and the wine is not helping. Peeta snaps his fingers. Deli Cartwright, that's who it is. I kept thinking she looked familiar as well, and then I realized she's a dead ringer for Deli. Deli Cartwright is a pasty-faced, lumpy girl with yellowish hair who looks about as much like our server as a beetle does a butterfly. She may also be the friendliest person on the planet. She smiles constantly at everybody in school, even me. I have never seen the girl with the red hair smile. But I jump on Peeta's suggestion gratefully. Of course, that's who I was thinking of. It must be the hair, I say. Something about the eyes, too, says Peeta. The energy at the table relaxes. Oh, well, it's that. If that's all it is, says Cinna. And yes, the cake has spirits, but all the alcohol has burned off. I ordered it especially in honor of your fiery debut. We eat the cake and move into the sitting room to watch the replay of the opening ceremonies that's being broadcast. A few of the other couples make a nice impression, but none of them can hold a candle to us. Even our own party lets out an ah as they show us coming out of the remake center. Whose idea was the hand-holding, says Haymitch. Cinna, says Portia. Just the perfect touch of rebellion, says Haymitch. Very nice. Rebellion? I have to think about that one a moment. But when I remember the other couples standing stiffly apart, never touching or acknowledging each other as if their fellow tribute did not exist, as if the games had already begun, I know what Haymitch means. Presenting ourselves not as adversaries, but as friends, has distinguished us as much as the fiery costume. Tomorrow morning is the first training session. Meet me at breakfast and I'll tell you exactly how I want you to play it, says Haymitch to Peeta and me. Now, go get some sleep while the grown-ups talk. Peeta and I walk together down the corridor to our rooms. When we get to our door, he leans against the frame, not blocking my entrance exactly, but insisting I pay attention to him. So, Deli Cartwright, imagine finding her look-alike here. He's asking for an explanation, and I'm tempted to give him one. We both know he covered for me, so here I am in his debt again. If I tell him the truth about the girl, somehow that might even things up. How can it really hurt, really? Even if he repeated the story, it couldn't do me much harm. It was just something I witnessed, and he lied as much as I did about Deli Cartwright. I realize I do want to talk to someone about the girl, someone who might be able to help me figure out her story. Gail would be my first choice, but it's unlikely that I'll ever see Gail again. I try to think if telling PETA could give him any possible advantage over me, but I don't see how. Maybe sharing a confidence will actually make him believe that I see him as a friend. Besides, the idea of the girl with her maimed tongue frightens me. She has reminded me why I'm here. Not to model flashy costumes or eat delicacies, but to die a bloody death while the cowards urge on my killer. To tell or not to tell, my brain still feels slow from the wine. I stare down at the empty corridor as if the decision lies there. PETA picks up on my hesitation. Have you been on the roof yet? I shake my head. Senna showed me. You can practically see the whole city. The wind's a bit loud, though. I translate this into no one will overhear us talking. In my head, you do have the sense that we might be under surveillance here. Can we just go up? Sure, come on, says PETA. I follow him to a flight of stairs that lead to the roof. There's a small dome-shaped room with a door to the outside. As we step into the cool, windy evening air, I catch my breath at the view. The Capitol twinkles like a vast field of fireflies. Electricity in District 12 comes and goes. Usually we only have it a few hours a day. Often the evenings are spent in candlelight. The only time that you can count on it is when they're airing the games or some important government message on television that is mandatory to watch. But here, there would be no shortage ever. PETA and I walk to a railing at the edge of the roof. I look straight down the side of the building to the street, which is buzzing with people. You can hear their cars, an occasional shout, and strong metallic tinkling. In District 12, we'd all be thinking about bed right now. I asked Senna why they let us up here. Weren't they worried that some of the tributes might decide to jump right over the side, says PETA. What did he say, I ask. You can't, says PETA. He holds out his hands into seemingly empty space. There's a sharp zap, and he jerks it back. Some kind of electric field throws you back on the roof. Always worried about our safety, I say, even though Senna has shown PETA the roof. I wonder if we're supposed to be up here now, so late and alone. I've never seen tributes on the training center roof before, but that doesn't mean that we're not being taped. Do you think they're watching us now? Maybe, he admits. Come see the garden. On the other side of the dome, they've built a garden with flower beds and potted trees. From the branches hang hundreds of wind chimes, which account for the tinkling that I heard. Here in the garden, on this windy night, it's enough to drown out two people who are trying not to be heard. PETA looks at me expectantly. Okay, Team Alabama, please add to your facts. We're going to stop there for today. Have a great rest of your day.